Japan, the land of the rising sun. Japan is known for a lot of things: their high tech, their insane football team, and anime. Alongside having one of the highest percentage of old dependents, it is one of the most densely populated countries in the world. And today, we're gonna find out why. Let's start with the definition. A high population density would mean a lot of people in a square kilometer. Japan has an outstanding population density of around 338 people per kilometer square. This gives it a position in around the top 20s for the highest population density in the world. Before we start, let's talk about the overall location of Japan. Japan is located in Northeast Asia and is surrounded by one major ocean, which is the Pacific. Alongside the capital Tokyo, the country is actually split into 4 islands. These islands are Hokkaido, Honshu, Kyushu, and Shikoku. These islands have different sizes and also different population densities. In general, there are quite a lot of reasons why a country can have a high population density. You can separate the reasons into a few sections: physical, economical, social, and political factors. Some physical factors are that some regions have more flatter land, which means it's easier to build on and develop. A reliable water supply can encourage a high population density as well, as water can be used for a variety of things. Fertile land can attract more people, as more food can be produced. Availability of natural resources can be a huge encouraging factor, as these resources can be used in different industries and manufacturers. Economic factors that encourage higher population density is the availability of jobs, which will in turn cause an increase/more economic activity in a country. This will increase population density as more people will move there to work. Locations with effective transportation, sanitation, water, and energy will typically be higher densely populated as people want to live in good living conditions. Now that we know why Japan is highly densely populated, however, we need to go back to the 4 islands and see why each of them is highly densely populated, or in some cases, not that densely populated. First, the biggest island in Japan, a high-density urban area like Honshu, consists of cities like Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. Over half of Japan's 125 million people live on this island, with just around half of the population living in those 3 cities. With a population density of around 456 per kilometer squared, many people live on the Honshu Island because the flat land makes it easy to build towns, cities, factories, offices, and transportations like airports and roads. There are many ports and harbors on the coast, which helps the import of raw materials, export of manufactured goods, and the development of the ever-so-growing fishing industry. Some ports/harbors are like the Mikayo, Shimofuru, and Shiramiyasaki ports. However, the central parts of Honshu have barely any people, but we'll look at that in a bit. Outside these urban areas, there are beautiful valleys with pretty flat land in Kyushu and Honshu. Many of these people live in villages or small towns, some of these people being farmers, but most of them work in the big cities. This is because there are good roads and railways, making it possible for people to live in the countryside and then work in the big cities. Another reason why it's so densely populated is because farm machinery is easy to use on this flat land, and crops can be easily grown on the fertile flat land. Finally, some places in Japan have a low population density. This is, like we said, the central parts of Honshu and the southern parts of Shikoku, with Shikoku's population density being around 219 people per kilometer squared. Few people live there because most places are mountainous, meaning not enough flat land to grow food on with. Soils are thin, acidic, and infertile. There is little work available except forestry due to few natural resources. The climate is often extreme, long, cold winters and heavy rain or snow. It seems the only island we haven't talked about is Hokkaido. Hokkaido is an incredible sparsely populated island with a population density of around 64 people per kilometer squared. One interesting reason is because as rice is a very important crop and is part of tens of millions of Japanese's diets, it cannot grow in the north cold climates. Alongside these cold climates, the island is very mountainous, which affects the population density. Finally, one last interesting thing. Typically in most countries, they would have a lower population density if the frequencies of natural disasters is high. However, this is not the case for Japan. Japan has had already 5 earthquakes with the magnitudes between 6 and 7.5 in this decade alone, and are prone to volcanoes and tsunamis as well. The reason why people are so reluctant to move, despite the vulnerability of natural disasters, are because many people have deep connections to their ancestors' homes, government policies like investments in disaster response and public awareness. The Japanese government also provides support and assistance to those affected. Financial aid and temporary housing are just two examples of this. The availability of support can encourage and motivate individuals and communities to rebuild and remain in their homes. This governmental policies and assistance helps people in Japan trust the government, and these policies give them a sense of security. Anyways guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and real quick, if you're interested in another video about Japan, perhaps related to its declining population, then comment down below if I should make it. Thank you and enjoy the rest of